Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Another episode of AP Studios show here live streaming on YouTube. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I wish I could say the same. Not terrible, but fighting plumbing problems, that's never any fun. And in between all the winter storms that keep rolling through. But I hope everybody's doing well. See who all we have in here. Let's see. All right, everything looks good. So if you drop by all means, drop a comment in the chat. Let me know you're here. Quite a few odd and end things to talk about today. There's been a lot of discussion about the possible mirrorless D500, the D500 replacement, especially now that it's discontinued and it's been out of stock in so many locations. That should be interesting conversation. And then on top of that, we have the Z9, of course, out now, and what is going to be the prosumer version of the Z9, the D850 replacement, if you will. So I think in these conversations, we're just going to refer to them as the Z8 and the Z500 until Nikon decides to communicate with us and give us a hint as to where they're going. But unlike others, I'm not going to take the easy route. So many people will and start talking about chip shortages and production issues and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going the route. I'm going the hard route. And I'm going to make some predictions, basically my opinions on what I think is going to happen this year. Hello, Ray James from Maryland. Yes. Hey, good afternoon, Uncle Chuck. Oh, man. Yeah, this could be a lively afternoon discussion. I've seen several YouTubers talking about the lack of ability by Nikon to not increase production per se, but to begin production of another camera. I'm not buying that for a minute. Hey, David, good to see you, buddy. Nikon, in my opinion, does have the ability to produce another camera, another body right now. And I think my prediction is by the end of this year, we will definitely have an announcement, if not a camera that's already moving, because I'm not buying for a second that Nikon's just sitting back now and toasting themselves on the introduction of the Z9. So the question is first, will it be this guy that gets replaced and gives us the next body by Nikon? This is the D500. Great camera. I know a lot of people don't like APS-C, and they're going to complain if there is another APS-C prosumer body. But then again, there are a lot of people that are waiting for it. And what would the cost be for a prosumer APS-C body like the D500? So if the Z500 was to come out, we'll start taking guesses now on what the cost of that camera will be. It will, if it's anything like the D500 announcement, and I don't know if you guys remember it or not, but I remember it vividly. We had really no clue of the D500 existence. Peter over at Nikon Rumors had touched on it, mentioned it, but he had no credible information to put out and discuss the upcoming D500. So we didn't even know it was coming. We knew about the D5, and Peter had done a great job on keeping us up to date with whatever rumors he had, credible information. But when the announcement was made, if I remember correctly, the D500 was announced before the D5 on the same day. So could it happen? Could it have happened again? I speculated before the announcement of the Z9, back before the teasers for the Z9, with all the information that was coming out, that there was that possibility that Nikon was hiding yet another surprise for us, being a APS-C prosumer model. Now, it could have been too soon because they had not phased out the D500 at the time, but it was always a possibility. And with that lingering, I still believe there is the possibility that that could be the next camera body we see from Nikon. Everybody's looking for a affordable Z9. So we want everything that's in the Z9 in a smaller body, i.e., the wonderful, the remarkable, and everybody will agree, probably one of the best full frame cameras, high megapixel DSLRs that Nikon ever produced, the D850. And I would agree, it is a fantastic camera. It's still relevant today. If you have one and you have all your old F-mount lenses, I can't see a reason to get rid of it unless we get wind of a prosumer body in D850 form, being the Z8, were to be hinted about over in the rumor columns or wherever, then it may turn into one of those trying to unload that camera and put that money in the piggy bank for the next camera coming out. And we still got a lot of time left in this year. And I know all the folks that watch all the markets and everything else will talk about why it may be impossible for Nikon at this point in time. Then you have all the production watchers talking about the Z9 and the lack of ability to get more of those out in production. But if you take away a few bodies or a couple of bodies and other production that's eating up that production side of the house, then there is the possibility for Nikon to produce another body. My opinion, and I'm going to stick with my opinion. So, and I want you guys to argue with me if you disagree, because maybe between the two of us, we can iron out what is possible and what isn't. So let me look over and see what we got in the comments so far. Let's see. Who else we have? The Rolling Photographer. Good afternoon. Good to see you here. Christopher, good to see you. What was the record? What was the record? All the Z9 trailers must be Z500. I don't exactly understand what you're saying, Christopher, but yeah, I think I mentioned it back then too, talking about the possibility of that happening. Won't see another new camera announced until the end of the year. Okay. All right, James. I disagree. I think it's going to come sooner rather than later. And I have several reasons for that. And you have to take this all in toto. You can't just look at it as one thing pointing towards they won't and one thing pointing towards they will. Right now, as far as market share goes, Nikon knows they have a good thing going with the Z9. And I truly believe they fully understand that they have to fill that gap, that Z8 gap. They have to, because those that can't afford the Z9 and are jonesing for it terribly, or those that just don't want a flagship camera but want the same capability or thereabouts, that's a large number of people. Nikon knows this. And they also know that for future market share, they have to plant themselves firmly right now and show the market that they have a full line planned and out there. When's the last time Nikon's communicated with us about anything other than, hey, the D500's dead, no longer in production? That was an easy one because they were running out of them in the field. You can't find one in stock. So I think that you're going to hear about it sooner rather than later. James, you believe that they need a D500 replacement. There are people that will argue and say we don't. They need to get out of the APS-C business, period, other than very entry-level cameras. We have a few of those right now. There is the possibility that Nikon would sneak a Z30, if you will, into the mix. And if you look at it based on their F-mount, or the DSLRs, you had a D3000 series, a D5000 series, then you had a D7000 series. So yeah, these were all affordable cameras. The affordable full frame was the D750. And then we had the, out there on its own in the middle of nowhere, D500. The Z30 could come in this year. I don't know why. I think the Z50 fills that slot rather well right now. What are you going to do with a Z30 a more affordable camera, which means fewer bells and whistles. Now, for those that are embedded in photography, that's not going to be something that they're extremely excited about, but that isn't the target market. Of course, this is to bring others into the brand. So how happy will an individual be with what a Z30 could provide? Yes, it's probably going to provide some decent video and decent photos as well, or stills as well. But it's not going to come with all the ability that all the upper level models have. How happy will the market be today with fewer bells and whistles and literally an ILC point and shoot almost combined? So my feelings on it. You guys have your own, and by all means, throw them in here. Z7 series, that's another good point we can discuss. I'm not believing we're going to see the Z7 III camera this year. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. And the prosumer Z8 or the D850 equivalent, I don't believe is going to be a Z7 series camera. We'll see. Maybe I'll get a job predicting the future of Nikon if all this comes to pass. Based on 2 years or so, let me just throw it up here. That's what this is for. Engineering cycle. I'm sure they had one or two other cameras tagging along with the Z9 as being designed. Yes, absolutely. Probably not as far along, but I would think that ready to go in 8 to 12 months. Well, when did the 8 months or 12 months begin, Jeffrey? See, that's the big thing. Everybody bases it on one camera being released, and then that's the start of the other. I'm not saying that's what you are specifically saying here, but when did the development for this camera start? We don't know. It could have been running right alongside the development of the Z9. Now say, well, they typically don't do that. Well, I go back to the D5, D500. Obviously, that was the case. And the D500 is no slouch. It's not like they were, they had a D500, or it's not like they had a Coolpix camera running alongside development with the Z9 or the Z5 or D5. So I think it's possible. And I'm open. You guys tell me why I am not right, so I can look at those possibilities as well. I don't know why. I'm not going to win any money in the stock market based on any of this. No problem, Roy. No problem. You're not really late. We're just in here discussing what's the next camera that Nikon's going to announce and when. That's a very broad question. Next gen Z50 will be a replacement for the D500. That's pushing it for me, Jesprit. I don't think that'll be the case at all. You could be absolutely right, but I don't see anything pointing me in that direction. My good old gut feeling, it just didn't carry in me there. You bring up a point that we need to discuss in all of this is how much of the tech out of the Z9 is going to find its way into this next body, be it a prosumer APS-C camera, the Z500, or the Z8, the replacement for the D850. I don't know. And we have a lot of variables there that we can talk about too. The biggest one, of course, is what we thought to be true and is somewhat true is heat dissipation for heavy lifting video and high frames per second. The processor, the XSpeed 7, is that going to follow into the next prosumer level body? I don't know. But I don't think, and I'll go along with the crowd here. I don't think that Nikon's going to kill themselves and put everything from the Z9 into the next prosumer level body. I don't even know if they can, but that remains to be seen. That's why we have all these variables as to what it's going to be and when it's going to be announced. Let's get rid of that. There you go. And this is my beef with Nikon still today. And I will continue to harp on their marketing and everything else. I don't know what the big secrets are. It's not trade secrets. I know they know what's going on behind the scenes of each manufacturer. They all know what the other's doing. No doubt in my mind there. Yes, and here it is. No, wait a minute. Silly me. I moved it. I'll show it now. There you go. The prosumer is the lifeblood of Nikon. Absolutely. They're going to sell more cameras in that category than they are anywhere else. It's not like the days of Costco and pallets full of D3000s sitting out there for quick snatch, easy buy, cheap. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that anymore. But that is the camera that Nikon needs most. Where is it? We don't have it. And we can't say that the Z7 is it. The Z7 series is already beginning to get long in the tooth. Now, the old timers are going to argue and say, well, I remember when we didn't get an update for 29 years. And I don't care. I don't care. That's then. This is now. The market wants it. And you know what? Nikon isn't going to deny the market because it's money. Let's see. A camera roadmap? That would be nice. I agree with you. That would be nice. I doubt that's ever going to happen only because they have all their big secrets, and I get that. But wouldn't it be nice even if they were just silhouettes like some of the lenses and the calendar stretched out for 3 or 4 years? That'd be kind of cool. It'd be new. I don't know anybody else that's done that as far as brands go. Let's see. So I'm going to go back up here to this. This is the debate. What will the naming convention be? And honestly, I think they're running out of naming convention with this Z1 through or whatever. And it's going to get interesting. We'll see what happens because updates are really going to become interesting, aren't they? As the years roll by. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up with all your comments real quick. Oh, by the way, the phone line is open for anybody who wants to call, and I'll put that number back up here in a minute when I'm just running my mouth. Since I don't have a guest in here, I have to share time with. Let's see. Engineers who design cameras are not the same ones that design the glass. I'd like to see more glass. Yeah, David, all of us want more glass. No doubt about that. And they've done a pretty good job this year of really jumping in and pushing out some lenses. It's not, it is, with the amount of glass there is and the possibilities there are, it's really hard for any manufacturer to keep up with what is the hottest item right now that we need to be working on. Because I don't know that there is one. You'll find an argument, a lens that you could care less about, and you'll find 10 people that think that's the best lens, greatest lens that will ever be produced, focal length and whatnot, and aperture. So that's a tough one for them. They're just going to have to continue to push this glass out in hopes of making us all feel good about what they're doing and meeting our needs. And I hate using the word needs, but there are needs. I understand that when it comes to glass. So back to you, Jaspreet. Why I said that is because previous Z cameras were not at a level where they should be. But the next generation Z cameras will be superior to the same price range of DSLR. Yeah, I believe so too, Jaspreet. I'll throw it up here for a second while I chat about it. I agree with you. I think that the playing field has been raised, no doubt about it, when we went from DSLR to mirrorless. A lot of old holdouts on DSLRs will say no. The only possible reason I would agree to them somewhat is because of the D850. I mean, this is still a relevant camera for what it was designed to do. It's not a sports shooter's camera. But when it comes to landscape and I know the Z7 is definitely comparable, maybe even better. I don't know. but portraits and everything else, the D850 was fantastic, still is. So, but I don't think it's going to be and I agree with your statement there. I don't think it's going to fall into the 7 series. I think it's going to have its own designation. And that way it has room to grow over subsequent upgrades over the next few years. Yeah, the camera roadmap would be so cool. It really would. Z lenses are also faster than F-mount lenses. Next generation Z cameras will work better than the D500, D750, D850. Yeah, they have to. I mean, let's face it. They actually have to outperform all the DSLRs. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Sony sells mostly point and shoot. Nikon sells mostly to photographers. Yeah, photographers and hobbyists. Now, I don't know if you can separate point and shoot cameras from hobbyists, but maybe this is the time we need to, because your higher end hobbyists and those with the money to buy are going to be buying whatever Nikon comes out with. And there's always that argument over competition with cell phones. And as cell phones continue to get better, as far as camera phones go, and people believe the hype. Now, daylight, beautiful weather, this, that, whatever, camera phones are doing a fantastic job with AI in them so that they can manipulate the photos. They're doing a great job there too for the masses, because they don't care about purity. They don't care about any of that. All they want is a great photo with duck lips to send to their friends or whatever it is they do. So I don't know that it has taken away from the little point and shoot Instamatics or whatever you want to call them. No doubt about that. There's no need for those anymore, in my opinion. I don't know if you can sell enough of them to make it worthwhile now that phones are what they are. So that leaves Nikon open to concentrate on upper level compacts that still have some capability that may not exist with a camera phone, but how much room is there in that segment? I don't know. Let's see. Love Nikon, but try to Sony. This is Christopher, A92, and it's been amazing so far. Yeah, again, I say it all the time. I'm not going to bash all these other camera companies. They have great products. And as time goes on, we're about at that point again where we're going to settle for ergonomics, maybe some color science or what we feel is color science and things like that for the brand that you want to continue to carry. But the capabilities are going to be so close that does it really matter? I don't think so. And problems lagging and resetting of viewing your profile on Nikon USA. Yeah, I have, James, and that's really aggravating me, and I haven't checked on that. If you can get a hold of them, which I tried one time, I sent one message to them and heard nothing. But then again, I'm probably not one of their biggest fans right now, or they're not one of my biggest fans right now. But I have the same issue trying to get to my account on Nikon USA to look at all the cameras, lenses, and everything else that I have on the site. See, if the Z6 II and Z7 II had a Z9 level of AF and processing power, people are not going to be asking for DSLR successors. Yeah, absolutely. And, that's another discussion to have. I'm one of the biggest Nikon fanboys out there, but I don't go to that 100% level because I'm willing to call Nikon out where it counts. And I have a Z6. I have a Z6 II. I think they're wonderful cameras, but they don't compete with the competition right now. In the beginning with Canon, it was a close run, but you had more Canon followers at the time. So Canon fans were willing to dump on Nikon. Influencers were dumping all over Nikon, and it just gave Nikon a bad name. But the Z6 really wasn't a stellar camera when it first came out. And I don't care about the one card slot because Canon had to go down that road and Sony went down that road for a bit too. So, notification gang. I'm missing it. I'm missing it, Hero. I'm a little slow, man. You got to help me out. A little bit of an explanation. Let's see. Have to keep tech bar high with the Z9. Yes. Like they did with the previous flagship models. Always, flagships have to come out and have to have that bit more above anything else that's going to be below it. But I don't know. We may be running into a time when you may have two versions that are almost exact, and the only reason they're exact is for size and weight for some reason. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. AI is going to play a big role in what we see coming out in the next few years. I don't know how soon, but in the next few years, where ISO, my prediction, ISO is going to go by way of whatever, a low megapixel. And the reason I think it's going to go by the way is because of AI. AI is going to find a way to eliminate it before you even see it. We see it in some of the software that's out third party now. And I think it's going to find its way into the camera bodies before long. Man, when that happens, then everybody will be complaining again. Well, there's no need for photographers. Everybody can just pick, get over that too, because I don't like it either, but that day's coming as well. Should have been Z1, Z1, F2. Okay. Yeah, I wondered about that. Why early on when they didn't go that route, when we got the Z6 and Z7, they didn't keep the single digits 4, but they've got a plan, I guess. Again, we don't know, and we won't know until after the fact. I don't understand that philosophy of hiding everything from your consumer. But hey, it's what they choose to do, and I'm going to continue to complain about it. Cheaper camera to do with the Z9? No, absolutely, James. Absolutely. Well, wait a minute. Let's go to the D3 and the D700. It didn't have all the bells and whistles of it's going to be close though. I think you're going to see it closer. There could be a time, like I said, when it just comes down to form factor, when tech has caught up to a point where I can put this in a cell phone style case, or I can put it in a full body flagship like case. That might be a bit extreme. I agree, but who knows? What was this? Doesn't have any real long Z lenses. No, but they're working on it, Roy. The 400 2.8 TC is going to be unique. We're going to have to, that's going to have to hit the market and let the consumers that have purchased that sell it on to others. It, right now the perception is it could take the place of a 400 2.8 and a 600 f4. I mean, it's only 40 millimeters short of 600 with the TC engaged. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And if it really pans out that this thing is as sharp as the two different lenses, the 400 2.8 and the 600 f4, does that fill the gap and drop the need for a 604? I don't know, but I think that we're going to see PFs, the phase Fresnel lenses for the 400 and up. I'm sorry, the 600 and up. Could there be a 500 that's entered in there? I don't know. This becomes redundancy, doesn't it? A 400 with TC. The 400 could be a PF lens as well, or an F4. We don't know. There's that other 400 that's on the list, or a 500. Do you check the block? Maybe it is a cost thing with phase Fresnel lenses, so that those of us that can't afford a $14,000 lens maybe could pick one up for $600 or $800. I don't know. And that would be a good move by Nikon, in my opinion. Can't compromise on the next Z cameras. Let's see. Z6 II or Z6 III, Z7 III, or Z8 will have less processing power, but AF will be almost the same. You know what's going to give us a hint to that? I'll throw this comment up there. What's going to give us a hint when it comes to that is there going to still be a firmware update for AF for the Z6 II and Z7 II? That's a real good indicator as to what's happening. If they found a way through algorithm to improve it with not as much processing power as the Z9, then that may indicate what's going on and what processor we could expect to see in this body that I predict will be announced this year. And I lean more towards a Z8 D850 replacement than I do the D500 Z500 replacement. I think that camera will come, and Nikon could fool us all, and it could be the next one that's announced. But I really believe that we're going to see a Z8 announcement before that. And then they could fool us, and we find out that, well, production capability wasn't an issue, and we get one right after the other or even simultaneously, that being a Z500 and a Z8. So a lot of possibilities out there, man. It gives us a lot to talk about, that's for sure, and to opine about, which, of course, is what I'm doing. So, Roy, yeah, and since we were just on that, that's what we know right now and believe right now, and I believe that you are correct. But that update for the Z7 III and the Z6, or I'm sorry, Z6, Z6 II, Z7 II, I'm confused by their numbering system. It's like trying to talk about Sony cameras. I can't keep up with the models. But anyway, whatever that update provides for us, because the update for the Z6 was actually nice, and the Z7, can they do more with dual processors in the Z6 II and Z7 II? This is going to give us a real good idea on where we're going here in the near future. So I like all the ideas and possibilities. Yeah, James, possible, same AF-ish, just not as high a frame rate. Yeah, and again, I go back to this next firmware update, if we get it, is a big indicator. So do we need all the processing power for not as high of frame rate? I don't know. I would like to think that it is a big part of that, but we'll see. We will see. So we have LCDs to improve. We have viewfinders, EVFs to improve. So they could actually improve over the Z9 in a lower model camera, the Z8, for instance, and keep a lot or not have as high a frame rate and things like that. And it still becomes a very sought after version. So there are a lot of improvements that can be made over the Z9. Was the Z9 a rush to the market? I think it was not it wasn't rushed so badly that or so much so that it left a lot on the table. I don't think that it did, but I think it's the beginning of what you're going to see from Nikon, which is what a flagship should do, honestly. What do you guys think? Let's see. Yeah, it's a good point, Ray. And that goes for all your lenses, but you're absolutely right, man. I rocked that. You see, with the kit, the old kit lenses, the 18 to 55, I think it was, and what was the other one? 24 to 200, or what was it? 50 to 200? I can't remember. I rocked that 200 for a while. I just couldn't see myself at that point buying into more expensive lenses, and it did a fine job. So you're right. 800 PF. Yeah, I agree with you, James. Yeah, I think everybody's waiting to see the price on that. That may that might put people in an 800 where they would never have dreamed they would ever go. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And then we got to get in all the weight, the poor weight. Everybody's getting on a space shuttle, so they have to keep that weight down by, if you can eliminate 1 gram, you're good, Nikon. I'm not going to harp on that all day, though. 500 PFZ mount under 4K would be mind-numbing, absolutely, because the 500 PF that they could never produce enough early on, they'd have probably sold double the lenses they sold. But a fantastic lens and proving itself even on the Z9. How many photos have you seen people using the 500 PF with that camera? I mean, it's amazing to me, and they're not complaining about it. So great lens, another great lens. Comparison of the Z6 II, Z9, and D850 and D5 AF speed with F-mount lenses. Z6 II was slow, but Z9 is the same level as a DSLR or even faster. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, no complaints from any of those that are shooting expensive, long glass, of course, about it causing any problems adapting it to the Z9. And I'll agree with that, except for my 400 2.8, which is older than probably half my audience. So the lens is due for issues or problems, and I don't even know if they make the focus motor in it anymore. But I think mine's just getting along in the tooth. With the D5, it did great. Now with the FTZ, I had a problem with the FTZ, but yeah, for the most part, old Nikon glass is holding up well. I just saw another Morton Hilburn, I can't remember his name, trying older glass, F-mount glass on his Z7 or Z7 II. And he was pleasantly surprised because he brought up when Nikon came out with the D800, everybody was warned your glass would be no good because of the resolution at that time. What do we have? 36 megapixel. You were going to have to slow down. You're going to have to concrete your tripod in. You're going to have to use the timer to take photos with this old glass because it just won't resolve well enough. Well, he just found out it resolved just as well as DSLRs ever did with that glass. So there you go. People want a smaller Z9, but they would love new autofocus and new 8K video. I'm thinking Nikon will give us that, and the new sensor and 8K. Yes, I agree with you, Good. I think it has to come out. Okay, 4K is the standard now, whether you want it or not. 4K is the standard. And if you don't have 4K 120, then you're behind the competition, and it will be seen as such. 8K is a nice sweet touch. It's not quite there yet, obviously, but a mention of 8K, the ability to shoot 8K 30 for a limited amount of time in the next camera body is almost a must. And how much do you guys agree with this? I think all that is a must, though, in the next camera. It won't do what the Z9 does just yet, but the Z9 is going to take it somewhere else in its update down the road. Processing power for the buffer and video. Yeah, handling data rate for. Yeah, the buffer is going to be important, and depending on the cards that you're going to be using, of course, because there's already a possible issue with that in 8K. If you go 8K 60, whether some of these cards that are selling right now, CF Express B cards, will even handle 8K 60. Everybody says they will, but I guess the numbers don't prove that to be so. So, yeah, a lot of things to come in all these all the cameras that are coming out. I mean, here we get ready to wrap this up. We're gonna summarize, and everybody come out with your prediction and throw it in the comment. And then later on, we can all come back and see how close we were somewhere down the road. Maybe the end of this year, go back to this video. Nikon overlooking street photography market, camera with decent weatherproofing and fast lens. Yeah. Well, that's the one thing I think, Ray. Do we agree, though, that even the Z6 and 7 bodies are fantastic, rugged, and weatherproofed? I think it's pretty interesting. Take ease. What's up, Uncle Chuck? What's up, brother? How you doing, man? Now lenses, I'm not a street photographer. I mean, I do it from time to time, but whatever I'm carrying is my street rig. Uh, I don't care if it's super small and whatever. I shoot candids anyway, and I've been able to get away with that. So I don't know if you're talking about pancake lenses and all that, which I'm not interested in. But if Nikon builds them, I know there will be a lot of people that are. Didn't buy the D6 because the D850 suited my needs better, and we need a Z8. I agree with you, Roy. I think, and that is the key to this whole conversation. And some people don't want to even broach this topic. And then others are stuck in the safe zone of just, it's easier to say, well, they're not going to, they're not doing it this year. It'll be next year. Well, that's, that's just playing it safe. Why don't you be bold and talk about maybe what you think they should do and say that's what's going to happen? I mean, that's where I'm at. I'm all about, I think this is going to happen this year. I don't think Nikon can wait. And I don't think production is going to be an issue. Where were they producing the D500? I don't know. Or all the other camera bodies. 2 to 600 might be the one in reach for most of us. Yeah, that will be, James. I'm going to say right now it will be, depending on what your reach is. I mean, if your reach is only $1,000, no, I'm sorry. I don't think we're going to see that. But, if you're in the $2,000 to $3,000 range, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be in reach. No doubt about it. And we're going to have to see how well it performs. Should not do a Z6 III or Z7 III. They need the next camera to be 34 megapixels with X-Speed 7, maybe 6K video for oversampled 4K. Z9 AF, but less frames per second, smaller body with optional battery grip. Well, you know what? I think you've come close to mapping it out right there, Jeffrey. I don't know who else will agree, but I think that really begins to map it out. I don't know what they will do with the Z6 and 7 series. That'll be interesting to see. But the Z8 is a must, or whatever they're going to call it. And then we got a Z8 open. I mean, we're going to put up for the highest bid if Nikon doesn't use it. But that sounds about right. Now, you got Con, if you guys watch Grays of Westminster, Con's all about, give me a 100 megapixel sensor in this next camera, whatever it may be, hoping it's like a Z8. And a lot of people are all over, we don't need higher megapixel. I don't know what we need, honestly, but I know what I want, and it's not going to be what Con wants. I like Jeffrey's idea. I like that 33 megapixel area somewhere in there, but I don't get what I want. And I can't expect Con to, or I can't expect to get what I want if I'm saying Con can't expect to get what he wants. Does that make sense? So, drop in. We need to inundate Nikon with our ideas and see which one they come up with. But I like the looks of that, Jeffrey. I think that's in the ballpark of what I would expect to see in the Z8, but I could be completely wrong. It may go totally the other way and be a very high megapixel camera. I don't know. I don't know what technology is looking like. Now, you drop AI for noise reduction into a camera body, the only thing you're fighting with on high megapixel cameras is storage. That's it. Because then you take out of the equation the problem with small photo sites not being very good in a high noise or low light environment. Who knows, man? We're going to see. I'd like to see Nikon be the trend in the AI side and do something like that, because all will follow right after. Let somebody else do it. I'm surprised that Sony hasn't done that yet. Hasn't come out with something that's very AI inclusive. Of course, we don't know how inclusive the cameras are that we have right now. So, 800 millimeter, maybe the smaller 400 could be the only PF lenses. I don't know, Roy. Will the could the 600 be a PF lens? I want to believe that it will be. I really do. Again, maybe wrong, but I want to believe that it'll be a PF lens because, well, let's wait and see what that 400 2.8 TC does. And I have no doubt it's going to be a spectacular lens, but let's see what it does because a 600 f4, not PF or phase Fresnel, may turn into another $12,000 lens or $11,000 lens. If it's the 604 is a phase Fresnel, if they can do a 4 at 600 with a phase Fresnel design, that would be something really interesting to see. And I would price that between the 500 PF and the 600 f4, somewhere in the middle. I think that lens would land. So a lot of things could happen over the next few years. Buy dumbbells and get in shape. Yes, David. Yes, David. I'm all about that. The older I get, the more I might lay off that a little bit, but not right now. Not right now. I can still carry, There's my big Z9. It's so big and it's terrible. Carry it all day long. But then again, I used to carry a weapon in my hand all day long. So maybe that's the difference. Maybe we should make everybody do cursory service in the military to prepare them for photography. Boy, that'd go over well, wouldn't it? Same old Nikkors like the 180 are really sharp. Yep. And you know what? Now that's something, instead of us complaining about lenses, we all want to brag about a specific lens that we owned in F-mount that was just fantastic. Why don't we just go hunt those down again and use them in the meantime? Okay, AF may not be as good. It may be a screw type lens, and I'm sorry about that. And, we need to get over that too. And if weight's an issue now, just build a screw mount adapter that goes on the camera and everything else, and then we'll be there's no hope. Let's just move into the future and drag some of the history along with us that still works. All right, enough of that. Z9 is Sony. Rolling shutter is a real breakthrough. Yep. And that's going to continue to get better too. What are we talking about now? Something we didn't really think about, or me not being the techie person. There are plenty of camera engineers over in Nikon Rumors forum. If you want to go over there and pose, man, they will tell you as if they designed the new mirrorless camera, what's possible and what isn't. I'm surprised Nikon hadn't snatched them up because they are incredible engineers. Incredible. Anyway, I lost where I was going. Yeah, I think the rolling shutter, now we know that it's about throughput and speed, so that could even improve more. We may break the bounds of physics, meaning we don't have to break the bounds of physics with a mechanical shutter or global shutter and whatever, yada, 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 and be able to do it with just pure tech now. They're going to make a Z8 or whatever they call it, the ZD or the ZB or whatever they call it. They're going to make it. And my prediction is we're going to hear about it this year. Just to give you a little insight, let me go over there real quick. Hang on. I won't be able to see the comments for a second, but I want to look at something here real quick. So Nikon Rumors today on their site. The top article is Nikon price increases coming to Northern Europe on April 1st. Yeah, I know that doesn't make you guys happy. And I understand that. And he gives an explanation as to why he believes that is and such, when the last increase was in Europe. Next article, Nikon Nikkor ZMC 105 2.8 VRS macro lens is finally in stock in the US and Canada. Now, the article came out. You probably can't find one right now because people saw it and went out and bought all the copies there are. Nikon D500 is now officially discontinued. And I'm going to give you I'm going to use that article in just a second. And we go down to the next article. Will there be a Nikon D850 replacement? It's almost clickbait. I know it's a relevant question, but Of course, there will be a replacement. We may not call it the D8 or Z8 or whatever, but there will be a replacement. All right, now let me go back to the Nikon D500 discontinued. I think this is where I saw it. I read all these. I read all these the other day. Okay, no, I can't find it right now, and I'm not going to stay over here all day looking through it. But Peter had information about the D850 replacement. Had a little bit. He had some rumor going on. Rumor, for those of you who don't know, rumors intelligence. That's a kick, isn't it? It's a good Army term, though. But he had some rumor on a D850 replacement, and it died. His information died at about the time we now know or believe the Z9, whatever was going on. And so my point here is that the Z9 came about, meaning that he may not. And the D500 was the same way. He had very little information long before the D500, and then it went away. And then we got the announcement on the announcement day for the D5, which was incredible. So my point here is just because we don't hear anything, and just because he isn't receiving any credible information about a D850 replacement right now, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So. And as far as production capability goes, don't worry about it. Nikon sort that out. I think they've got plenty that they can utilize. Okay. Smaller Nikon will make it Z8. Well, look, there has to be a smaller body because whether, I like it or not, and I won't include you in that, that's what the market is demanding because we've gotten into this position and I understand some of it, not the weight so much. I don't care. But the size, especially for video work, and that sounds counterintuitive to want a smaller body for video, but for cages, all the accoutrements that go along with shooting video and have all the, the peripherals mounted on or near or around the camera. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I can understand that. So we do need that body, and we need the replacement of the D850. We just need it, We want it and we need it. And I think Nikon needs it more than I need it or anybody else needs it. Nikon needs it. So I think we're going to see one this year. Hear about it this year. Announcement possibly this year. I think it has to come soon. I really do. Smaller, relative to the Z9, but bigger than the Z7 II, smaller than the D850. Yeah, okay. I'll go along with that, Jeffrey. A happy spot, but it won't be happy for everybody. And I know Nikon knows that. You just got to, at some point, you just got to say, this is what it's going to be. You'll get used to it, or I'm sorry we couldn't build the bear for you. Fuji XH2, so it'll be launched in May. 40 megapixel backside illuminated, stacked sensor. As well as 8K video, force Nikon to step up in order to compete. Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. This is more information that adds credibility to my opinion or rumor or whatever you want to call it. You have the R5 out there right now, and I don't care what you guys say, and I think you agree with me. The R5 is a pretty incredible camera. All the heating crap aside, I get that. But, most people weren't shooting an hour of 8K video. Most videos that we do, indie filmmakers do, are short segments of video. So it could be overcome. I know it's a nuisance, but my point is it's a great camera. And with their firmware update for autofocus, it is a great camera. Forget the R5C. Different topic for something different, but the R5 itself. What does Nikon have in its arsenal right now, mirrorless, to compete with the R5? And you can't say the Z9. Go ahead. Everybody tell me, what does Nikon have comparable to the R5. And what does Nikon have comparable to the A7S III and 4? Because those are great cameras. Budget, when I say budget, they're not cheap, but budget cameras, below flagship cameras. What does Nikon have to compete? We're getting closer. We need the camera that competes with them, actually exceeds, so we can get on an even playing field with them. You guys agree or disagree? You may not agree only because it's, we're talking video in those cameras too. So the next camera body has to compete on the AF side with everybody. Will we agree on that? Can we agree on that? Let's just take this one piece at a time. Do we all agree it has to compete on the AF side? And when I say compete, I mean maybe even a bit better. And Nikon needs to figure out how to stream that down into other bodies or successors. So Jaspreet, they need both the Z6II and Z6III, Z7III. Maybe they will rename the camera, but 30 megapixel 6K Z6III and higher for the Z7III. Rename Z8 both. You know what? You bring up a good point that there is a possibility in there. Z8 becomes its own animal, and it is a smaller embodiment of the Z9. And the Z7 III becomes that next super high megapixel camera, because those that are asking for that are either landscapers or portrait fashion photographers. I don't know of another reason why you would need more than that. But anyway, maybe that's where the Z7 series comes into play. I don't know. A lot of possibilities out here. We're just throwing it all around. You guys bringing up a lot of good ideas. Z600 looks bigger than the 800. Yeah, the 800. So, and we already have the hints of the 800 PF, or already know 800 PF. So, if the 600 is as big, does that mean it's not going to be PF? I don't know. Don't know. Oh, Mike, no kidding. Well, let us know. Keep us updated, brother. I hope that's not the case. High ISO noise at ISO 64 Z9 versus my D850. Much finer and really easy to clean up in denoise software with no issues. Creamy bokeh. All right, Jeffrey, thanks for the update. You know, we're hearing conflicting stories from everybody. One guy, it's great on this. Next guy, no, there's a problem. And it's just the way it goes when you've got, 10,000 people trying a camera. Everybody finds something different. Let's see. As long as the other 400 isn't f11, yeah, like the Canon lens. You talking about, for the 400? Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, how do you get it smaller and lighter? There you go. Yes, James. I leave it out on the porch at night just in case people want to use it while I'm sleeping. Oh, what a hoot. Z8, the D8, D500 replacement. It'd be a missed opportunity for them to keep name recognition with the D850, but I suppose it's possible. Yes. I suppose. I don't see it, but I suppose it is possible. Yeah, AF cannot go backwards on. Well, when I say it can't go, it has to trickle its way down quickly into the other prosumer cameras. It has to, because it's there in the R5, it's there in the A7S3, A7S4, and probably some other underlings within the Sony camp and Canon as well. But it definitely, Nikon has to keep that moving forward with their prosumer bodies, or we have lost a whole segment of shooters. And I think that's really the point here. And we can't afford to lose a whole segment of shooters for yet 2 more seasons of shooting, or nobody's going to look at Nikon as they begin to decide which brand they're going to go with as they move up from point and shoots, camera phone, or whatever. Why would you buy into a system that you have to go flagship or nothing? So yeah, it has to go, and it has to be in the next body. I say it must. Perfect AF is the holy grail for all camera. It is now, Ray. That is the thing. You don't sell cameras. You're not going to sell cameras, especially from this point forward, without great AF. Sorry, guys. It's just the way it is. Look at all the advertising for everything and all the arguments between brands. It's come down to nothing but AF, period. So what's funny is we don't have any super Nikon million subscriber individual out there as an influencer. And if you can think of one, drop it in the comment here. I want to see. We had one that we actually don't care for a lot anymore, and that was Fro. Fro was dedicated Nikon until mirrorless. The Northrop camp was dedicated Canon until Sony began to creep in. And since has just basically become over the moon about Sony. This is the Northrops, but they still have a love for Canon. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I believe that they would like nothing more than to see Canon outdo Sony so they can go back to their first true love, Canon. Now, on the Nikon side with Fro, I don't know what Nikon can do to ever win his absolute love back. And he says all the time, I like Nikon. I used to shoot blah, 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 blah. But I'm promoting Sony. And I'll even promote some Canon. We need that one of those million plus subscribed influencers in the Nikon camp, because those two alone, Fro and Northrop, if Nikon missteps at all, will again annihilate Nikon. The problem with that is too many people that are trying to decide which brand to jump into. Listen, I mean, the majority of the people, they all know who those individuals are. I say two, but three actually. They know who they are, and they definitely will listen to what they have to say. So the next camera has to be a doozy, just like the Z9, and we need to fill that niche in the market that we don't have right now, because the Z7 II is not filling that gap. All right. And you guys will hate me before this is done. Okay, Roy. Yeah, that's the way a lot of people look at it. DX is for beginners and street shooters, full frame for more serious users. A lot of people argue with you and say not necessarily. That the D500 opened their hearts up, and a lot of birders and hobbyists there. I don't know how many professional shooters shot with the D500. I don't know. But there are a whole lot more hobbyists than there are professionals. I think that's the takeaway. Albert, catching up financially, Nikon may have no option but to develop entry-level video-friendly cameras with fully articulating displays in order to remain competitive. I don't think Nikon's in such dire straits financially. I mean, corporations like this, they may not be doing as well as others, but I don't think that they're in any super financial struggle just yet. I mean, they're building a multi-million-dollar headquarters. I agree they need one, because being in the back of a bank building somewhere is not a proper location for a major manufacturer's headquarters. But the articulating screen, another great point. Man, we'd skipped over it for this long because I just don't care about it, and I never even thought to bring it up. However, I will agree, in the lower level cameras, I'm not talking the prosumers either. In the lower level cameras, I think that they need to go back to the flippy screen. I say go back because I had a D5000 with that screen, And for what I did with it at the time, it was nice to have, but I got to tell you, I didn't use it often. Most of the time, I kept it flipped all the way around, just like a permanent LCD on the back. Um, I don't have to have a flippy screen. If they want to, if Nikon wants to put one on their higher end cameras as we move forward, that's fine. Just give me the ability to turn it all the way around and push it back against the camera body. And the ability maybe to not have to see, this is the problem, just to swing it up, to tilt it up or down or sideways. I have to pull the thing all the way out to the side. And I'm sorry, but that's just uncomfortable for me. So, it may not be for you, but it is for me. And I'm not doing any vlogging, walking around with a stick in my hand everywhere. If I'm going to do that, honestly, I'm going to get a GoPro. I mean, GoPro looks fantastic for that. I don't need an ILC to do that. But anyway, to each his own. But I would agree. And you have to put it in those cameras. Maybe they are early adopters to the brand. I don't know, or we'll bring them in. But you have to put it in there because that is so if AF is important, friggin' flippy screen is almost as important because it's in every conversation. It's either they don't have it or I really like that they put this on this camera. So who knows? Anybody want to call in? Let me get all these notifications out of the way. Here's the call line. You're welcome to call in. We know we got that working halfway decent now. I say that, and today will be a problem. Sponsors like Fuji make you sign a document not to use other brand cameras. Is that a fact? Oh, there went my phone number. Is that a fact? I did not know that. It seems hard to impose, but I suppose they can. Huh. Interesting. All right, let me go back. Phone number, coming up. Phone number. All right, back in the chat. Let's see. Used to have a DX and matched it with a 24-70, 2.8, and the results were super nice. Okay, Roberto, my D500. I never bought a DX lens for this camera. Never. I used all my not native, but full frame glass. The 14-24, great. Worked great. 24-70, just like you said, great. And then I could get the, it's not a true extension of focal length. And I know a lot of people buy into that. It's perceptual only because you have a narrow, field of view. But on the long lenses, it was impressive. It felt impressive. A 400 millimeter lens now is a 600 2.8. On my D500, that is cool. It feels good. Sounds good. Let's see. Because you used back to Roy here. Because you used a medium format Fuji. I was approached by Fuji to sign up and get extra support. Oh, okay. So no, I can go along with that. I can believe that. And I heard from a pretty influential YouTuber that he was approached by Sony. They would assist him with purchases, not give him. He didn't say they would give him. But maybe help him with purchases of their equipment, with discount or whatever, I don't know, plus loaners and things like that, if he would jump over to Sony. And I believe him. I don't think he was bandstanding there. I think he actually was honest. So there you go. Does Nikon do anything like that? I've never heard of it happening before. Many professionals dislike articulating flipping displays. They are an absolute must-have feature. Yeah, Albert, unfortunately, I know that they are. I don't want to see it on the highest level cameras. I don't care. I don't think that there is a need for it, in my opinion, but I don't shoot everything under the sun, and others will have found a reason to have it. I get that. But in all the other lower tier cameras, I don't have a problem with it. And is that selfish because then it means it won't affect me? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you know what? I can't hide that, can I? Yeah, for NPS members. Well, yeah. Well, first of all, you got to pass a background check and a poly, I guess, to get into NPS because I still haven't heard from them after my third attempt. Filmmakers channel and previous stream. Yeah, I've let's see, Matteo Bertoli's channels. Okay, I will. I'll check that out. I thought I saw you dropped Wolf Crow in here somewhere too. I've seen him as well. Roberto, Nikon too. Only Nikon use their ambassadors, if not mistaken. Yeah, it's true. Nikon doesn't seem to do that even for NPS mirrors. Okay, so Nikon uses their ambassadors, yeah, for all that. And what do they do for their ambassadors? I don't know. I don't know what, if anything, they do. You got the Sony artisans, and you see them constantly. Now you guys will throw things at me, but I don't see that many ambassadors off that often. Again, on the Nikon side, but man, Sony will load up video after video and guests on live streams and everything else, and talking about the cameras after the launch and stuff like this. I think that they do a great job at that. Getting back to the marketing side, there you go. You know, Nikon, Canon has been a little more open and communicating with their folks here recently. I mean, I know that Canon Rumors, but now take this with a grain of salt. I think that all the manufacturers, to some extent, communicate via rumor sites. I know it sounds crazy, but I can't help but believe that some of the little bits and pieces are intentionally leaked. And for whatever reason, they feel like that's communication and marketing. Well, it's not. But Canon has opened up and acknowledged a few things recently on their cameras, which cameras or lenses or other things that they're going to put on hold while they continue to develop others or produce others. Nikon. What's the latest Nikon news on that? Anybody got it? I'll wait. Yeah, no flash on the D850. I think the flashes on cameras days are pretty much going by the way. I know there are still people that want to use it as a commander, but if you still want that flash to have in a pinch, it could only be to photograph evidence, because there is nobody that flash, on camera flash, built-in flash. There is nobody that takes a great photo or a decent photo of somebody in front of that camera, in my opinion. So the only thing it's useful for, in my opinion, is a flash controller, which is okay. You can put I know that it works into the Nikon CLS system and everything else, but you can use a third-party flash and bounce to a slaved third-party flash and use it that way too. Rather difficult, but it can be done. Okay. I see, Ray or Roy. That's your point, Roberto. Okay. Yeah, agree with you, Roberto. So yeah, they're gone. I kind of looked at that the wrong way, brother. Sorry about that. Yeah, they are going away, and they have been for the longest with flagship. But I think that was one of the complaints when it did go away, because you still had a lot of people that were using the Nikon CLS feature. Now you have to buy the whatever the communicator. I don't even know what the model is for that. Everybody was hoping that it would be built into the newer bodies, and well, that didn't happen either. It's a lot of not electronics, but signal to control, and possibly become confusing for all the other things that you have in and around or on your camera too. I think that's one of the issues that they may have with it. Yeah, the capacitor. Yep, see that too. All right. Well, this has been a lovely chat so far. I hope I'm not rubbing everybody the wrong way. And by all means, throw all this back in my face. Anything that I said that you feel is absurd later on, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I'm just telling you my feelings. A lot of it's gut feelings. Some of it is what I think I see in what's going on with the marketing and other things. And I think that we have more indicators that are going to show up over the next few months too. Again, one of the big ones will be, what does Nikon do as a firmware update for the Z6 II and the Z7 II? Will it include improved AF? If it does, then we're going to really dissect that, look at it, how they achieved it, and try to figure out where they're going next. What's capable for the next camera that we're going to hear about this year? I almost want to say it will be in our hands this year. Now, that's a crazy thought, isn't it? But I'm not going to go as far as to say that, but it will be known to us this year. It may even be announced this year. I don't know why I feel that way, but I do. I think Nikon needs it, and they know that. I think that's why I feel that way. Boy, that's something to plan on, isn't it? Start saving your money now. Security lock for the Z9 should be a very easy firmware update. Man, I don't know if I want to go there, James. I'm definitely not. If I had to make a decision for Nikon today, I'd say no, don't do it. It doesn't mean it's right, but I'm afraid of it. I hate electronic fixes like that. I can't remember the password to half the sites I go to. And now I'm going to have to remember it on a camera. And if not that, are we going to put a fingerprint reader on the camera? I mean, right now they have the physical barrier. Yeah, it's not a lot, but what do you call it? Kensington Lock? I don't know if you can see it because the light. Yeah, you can see the hole there. It has the little receptacle for the Kensington Lock. I don't even want to do that. I know I'm crazy, but you all know that already. I'm a risk taker, and it does bite me in the butt sometimes. But let's see. The only way I don't know if it really does any. I don't know if it deters anybody either. You know, I don't think there's a camera theft ring out there that they're kind of like Gone in 60 Seconds. They're looking for cars or certain models. And without that, I don't know that it does any good, because some kid grabbing your camera, who cares if he can't get into it? It's gone. And that's the whole point, you know? Unfortunately, I think the best defense we have now is insurance. And I know it ain't cheap, but I don't know. Like cars, let you start the car without putting the key in. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I know a lot of people are talking about the GM. I'm not taking it lightly. Okay, I know you're sincere. I don't know what the answer is to that. But one, I don't want a password I've got to remember. And how do I enter it? Does it allow the camera to power on and go right to the little alphanumeric part of the menu? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Or yeah, I'm just afraid of it because I know it's going to give me a problem. How many nights have I started the show with no audio? I'll lock myself out of my camera and then I don't even know. Is it going to be like Apple? And once it's locked, there's nothing anybody can do? I don't know. Maybe there is a fix. Maybe we're going to see something here in the future. But I don't know how much it helps. Maybe it just makes people feel better. And if it's a function that can be turned on or off, then I'm all for it. Put it in there because I ain't turned it on. I know I'm crazy. Like I said, I know that. Let's see. Good. Yeah, Wi-Fi and GPS. Yeah, GPS is on a different frequency. Problem is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all your peripherals that you use. Even I don't know if I can lift. I can't because I still have it wired up over here. My HDMI transceiver and receiver for wireless video. Yeah, at some point, and all these devices are now really having to get specific about how to navigate the airwaves anymore. So yeah, I don't know what including, and if you're talking about the flash commander again, I don't know what including that will, what problems will it cause? Because the other problem with it is including it in camera. And I just thought of this is the communications commissions around the world. All the different countries have different bands that they offer use of. US isn't the one and only. So every country has a different model transmitting frequency for any of these devices. And you'll see that. You go to buy the little transmitters by Sony, the old ones, audio lav mics with a transmitter and receiver. You can't buy one in one country and ship it to another country. It's prohibited by the other country. So I don't know if that would make a difference in that or not. Just make sure your 600 F4 is on there before it gets stolen. They won't make it far. True enough, James. True enough. Where's the cookies? Man, I want a cookie right now. I'm glad you said something because I do need a drink of water, and I know you don't want to hear me drink, but I really need a cup of coffee. Yeah, my audio, Charles. Can you imagine me with trying to figure out how I unlock my camera? I'm not making fun of the situation. I'm making fun of me. Yeah, that's the last thing I need. I can see my wife. I'd have to tell her so that I could call her. Hey, what's the unlock code for my camera? Oh, she'd get a kick out of that for certain. She'd probably say, what's it worth? Let's see. 250,000 subs. Wow. Wouldn't I like 500 so I can use cards in YouTube? I'd be a happy camper. Price of Z9. Can I get my concealed carry approved? There you go. That's one way. And I was down in New York City. This has been, I don't know, 4 years ago. Honey, when were we down there with Brittany and all of them in the city? You're not going to answer me? Oh, maybe she went back upstairs. Anyway, I threatened a guy one night with my D5 and 24-70. I was going to beat his brains out with it because he was getting a little too crazy with my daughter, street vendor. Anyway, they do make a nice weapon. So you can use it as a weapon as well. I don't know if you know that. If you put a cage on it, it becomes a very good weapon too. And it's very possible your camera will survive a skull shot. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? Oh, my baby brought me a cookie. Hey, when was it we went down there? Remember the painter that was getting all up in Brittany's face?
Oh, yeah.
He about got a mouthful of D5.
Yeah.
Sorry, little.
Yeah. I think that was around 2014.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. He would have thought about it again before he grabbed somebody with a camera. So I'm not losing my camera. It's going down with the ship. That's my protective device. Yeah, spikes on the tripod. I've never tried it on the plane because that tripod I couldn't get on the plane. That's my big giant Gitzo. The thing weighs as much as this desk. All right, back to, I don't mean to bore you guys with talking about having insurance for camera equipment, because you know what? I want to do that a good. If you guys can find somebody that, and I'm not that I'm not going to look too, I'd like somebody that is a photographer or very familiar with photography and can talk about what they've tried as far as insurance goes. Because let's face it, we don't want to just hear about a company. What's it going to cost me for this level of equipment and so on and so forth? I mean, that's what we want. I'm going to try to do that because I really believe that is very important. It's something, again, I'm not doing. That's terrible to say because, man, I'd hate to even think. And my homeowners I do carry a rider on homeowners, but it doesn't go very far. And that doesn't cover me when I want to take the equipment out somewhere, any of it, cameras or anything. So yeah, good point. Good point, A Good. I'm definitely going to do that. Let's see. Governments would use jammers to prevent you from taking any pictures. Yeah, it would be a possibility. Well, it'd be a possibility. The government doesn't even have to try. You just walk into, you go downtown now, and there are all kinds of RF issues going on within the larger cities. It's incredible. And I'm an old ham radio operator too, so a lot of that makes sense to me. Security feature for the camera body is pointless if it does not also protect the lens attached to that camera body. It seems to be a simple gimmick intended to provide a false feeling of security. You talking about physical security, Albert, or some form of electronic security, meaning disabling the camera? You're right, though. You can lock the camera body up all day long, and they just snap that lens off there if they don't know how to get it off, like a branch, and away they go with the lens. Wouldn't do them any good. I agree. Spikes on small cages. Yeah, we're going to get in trouble now, James. We might develop a new third-party market or a new third-party part. The defensive camera cage. I may do that one day just to have some fun. There's plenty of mounting places on that cage. See how many people actually believe me if I can keep a straight face and talk about what I've prepared to go do street photography in New York City. Let's see. Evan Ranf here, but let's see. Okay, help me out, Jaspreet. Will be interesting to discuss why he didn't move to Z cameras after D850 or D780. Okay, I'll reach out to him, brother, and see if we can find some discussion points that would be of interest to you guys. Cheapest insurance, and it wasn't a waste of money. Yeah, Roy, I need to do something too. And hey, good, thanks for bringing that up. That's definitely on my list. Hang on, that goes on my list of Camera. Insurance. Yeah, I got to find somebody. That is important. And on that topic, and I'd mentioned this somewhere, even on my channel, talking about starting a photography business and everything else. Folks, if you plan or you're shooting and you're shooting to earn money, maybe not a living yet, but earning money, you are liable for any problems you cause wherever you're shooting. Now, I'm not talking about out in a park or public. I'm talking about if you're doing portraits or events or something like that, and for whatever reason, your equipment in any way, shape, or form causes somebody to hurt themselves, then you're liable for it. Yes, of course, the event is too, but that doesn't stop them from coming after you, meaning you need liability insurance to go along with your company. I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm just giving you a heads up. If you don't believe me, just go check and see what it could cost you. It could cost you everything. James, he moved to other brand. Okay. Site you can check for copyright photos. Should something like that should be added for something that only with a password copyright cannot be changed. Okay. Now I'm gonna need a cookie and talk to you. I hope you guys don't mind. Roberto, on the copyright thing, I like where you're going with that, but are you saying put that in the camera body so that once you set it, nobody else can reset it? The only problem with that too is, yeah, it would come up. Yeah, it might work. Let's see. Homeowners would cover theft of your gear from your home. Yeah, absolutely, Jeffrey. And you can get a rider that does give you some flexibility in there, but it won't cover your gear. You don't want to pay what it costs total replacement for your gear. And then the nightmare of actually putting all that together for your insurance company. Now, for me, it was just a simple picture of a few items, and there you go. And then it's up to a certain limit and falls under the homeowner policy. But I definitely need. Oh, Jeffrey, I definitely need. I need to do something about it. James, Ham's making a comeback. Yeah, it is. I actually just renewed my license again 3 years ago. Hadn't practiced in a long time, but I don't want to let it lapse. So it is. I think it's trending for a lot of reasons. You know, the end times are here for a lot of people, or soon. So yeah. Put a boa constrictor in the trunk. No, but you know what? You made me think. How about the trunk monkey? Anybody see those funny videos? Get out and beat somebody with a tire iron or whatever. That would be a great theft deterrent. Passenger seat and someone broke the window and threw too funny, James. Too funny. I left it in the seat. I came back and my back seat was full of Sony cameras. Yep, you're right. Which is why we were talking earlier about I can't get into my account on Nikon USA to update. And of course, the insurance company wanted that as well. Now, I couldn't put everything I've got on there, but you know, bodies and some lenses. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Roy. And I should have made that clear. You're absolutely right. Business insurance is completely different from insurance for your gear. Um, but I bring that up because so many people don't look at that. Now, it's 1 in 10,000 that it affects, but I don't want to be that 1 in 10,000 as far as liability insurance goes for photography. One day, one day insurance for a fee, of course. You talking equipment or liability, Roberto? Okay. Bluetooth key fob that activates the camera would be cool. I'd lose that. I'd have to put a Apple tile on the key fob. I don't know if you guys think I'm kidding. I can go out in the field and play army all day long. I don't forget nothing. But when I come home, well, not that I go out in the field and play army anymore, but I surprise myself as I'm thinking, man, were you that incompetent when you were actually active duty? Evidently, I wasn't. Okay. What else we got? One good thing about Nikon, Black Magic, small community is we can have this kind of conversation. You can have a conversation with Sony YouTubers. You can't have. Yeah. Yeah, it's been fantastic. I applaud you guys. You guys have been fantastic. As a matter of fact, while we're on that real quick, Frame Voyager, John from Frame Voyager. I just got an email from him talking about how much he enjoyed being in here, and it was really a relatively slow night for us. But he'd like to come back. And he's also talking to an audio guy that he knows, helps or works with him in audio and stuff like that a lot. And we're setting that up again. So for you guys that did enjoy it or didn't or missed it maybe or want to know more video and audio, and I'm finding that there are more and more people that are, let me try this out, or at least I want to know. And if you bought the Z9, I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to play with video a little bit with all the capability in there. So that said, we're going to have him back here before long. And I do hope everybody will engage him with all the questions. He's just so personable. It's hard to stay on track. It's having fun at the same time. And I don't want to take that away either. But if you guys enjoyed him, if you didn't see it, don't know what I'm talking about, go back to last Saturday. Yeah, Saturday night's live stream and get a feel for John and what he does. He's a videographer. And we're definitely going to do it again. Now, why did I bring that up? I don't know. I can't remember my unlock code for my camera. Let's see. Live stream midday, Chuck. As the Z9 exceeded expectations. Good to see you all. Yeah, thanks. It has exceeded my expectations in the fact that it does everything that I may have had a couple of cameras to do or 3 cameras to do. From that point of view, I'm extremely happy with it. I haven't had the opportunity to go out and shoot birds in flight. I don't know why I'm so compelled to do that. I guess it's like AF, selling cameras. The true test of a camera nowadays is birds in flight. But I haven't had a chance to go out and do it. I also have the 1-400 Z lens, and I really want to get it out and shake it out. I keep saying that, and I will. But I've got so many things going on around the house. Here come the excuses. You guys can tune out, go to the bathroom, or whatever you want now. So I've got so many things going on around the house. We are trying to get the house ready to put it on the market. I am moving. We're going to Tennessee. We're getting out of Connecticut. We just can't afford to retire in Connecticut, for one. And we don't like the weather that much anymore. Here recently, I've gone through a flurry of plumbing problems for whatever reasons. Like everything decided, you know what? I think I'm done. And 2 years ago, we had a new well pump put in. So whoever gets this house is getting a rebuilt house from a plumbing and HVAC perspective. So all that said, the weather's been terrible. I didn't think I was a fair weather shooter, but obviously I am this year. I didn't want to be out in zero weather, wind blowing. It just, all right, excuse over. I'm going to get out and shoot with it. And I can give you a full idea of what I think about the AF tracking, and the new 1-400 as well. But the camera, I love. I miss this. Now, if you haven't shot a flagship camera for a long time, and it feels different than a battery grip, it really does. I don't know why, but if you didn't shoot a flagship for a long time, this is very comfortable, a very familiar feel, and it feels great to get back to it. If there was anything that I wasn't initially enthused about, was the Z6 and the Z6 II, not because of their capability, just holding it. I wasn't impressed, but that would be my first mirrorless. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's where I'm at with it right now. And I am going to do a studio shoot in the studio here. Hope to do that sooner rather than later. Just trying to find somebody that doesn't have COVID and a number of other reasons they can't come, and get a model to come in and shoot. Put the camera through its paces as far as portraits go. I don't know if that's a big test or not, but we're going to do it. No, Roy, that's where I was going. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Roy. And he liked the crowd too. He really did. And we do seem to get along real well in here. And I thank you guys for that. You're just a bunch of good folks. Everybody. I haven't tried pulling a still. I haven't even shot 8K yet, to be honest with you. Haven't even done anything 8K yet. I did a little 4K 120. This is why I need Frame Voyager back in here, because he was talking about color grading in of all things, Instagram the other day. But I need help there. What am I going to shoot in? Am I going to shoot in flat profile? I also need him to explain LUTs to me. That's terrible, isn't it? But I explained to him before he ever came on the first time, this is the level we're talking about. And if you can help us out, then definitely come on board, man, and just get ready for all questions you may think, man, I learned that 10 years ago. Well, that's where we're at. We're trying to cater now to those that want to play with video and don't want to look like a complete buffoon. Even though he laughed at me, he said, well, you're going to look that way anyway. I did, for the well, that's okay, as long as we know we're heading in the right direction. So, hey, Briar, good to see you, brother. You've probably been in there 20 minutes. I haven't even got to the bottom of the comments again. Oh, man, plumbing. You don't want to know what I've been through here lately with plumbing. I'm on a well, of course. I have to go through all that. Anyway. Stu's review on the old Russian camera. Yeah, excellent. Stu's just good at digging up stuff like that. Those are just great little interesting bits of camera history and photography history. I applaud him for that. I'm having enough trouble going through all the sites, trying to gather enough info to come in here and actually let you guys know what you might have missed. Yeah, Roy, I didn't care for it either. I got used to it. Don't get me wrong. And then for a camera cage, for all the video stuff I'm doing with the Z6, man, it's perfect for that. It's a great little compact system for run and gun, no doubt about it. No kidding, Jesprit. Well, I shouldn't say no kidding. Of course they do. that's the difference between the fan base for Canon, Nikon, and Sony. Man, of course they're going to continue to beat up the Z9. I don't know why they would. They don't have to. The A1's a fine camera. That's cool, James. You know, it's good to have that feeling about your camera. You know, it comes down to ergonomics too, which is what, like I said, if somebody wanted to ask me which one of these entry level mirrorless cameras between Nikon, Canon, and Sony should I use, I'd say I'm not even going to tell you about the capabilities. I want you to go hold them. Go somewhere, borrow somebody's or whatever. You hold all three of them, and then you decide what you want, and then look at the specs. AK. Yeah, Albert, he's going to be back, buddy. And we're going to get him in here. And I hope all you guys will show up and be vocal. Man, you got a question. Look, if it takes me to break the ice on a stupid question, I don't mind doing it because I got a box of them over here. Stupid questions asked about video. And most people would say, well, why do you even bother? Well, good point. But so let's see. Only about just for video, Roy. Yeah. Yeah. I like it for that. I really do. For the video that I've been doing and stuff like that, I think it's fantastic. I don't know why I'm looking behind. Oh, I'm looking for my Z6 II. It's over there on the camera stand. Sony A1, you didn't, nothing significant between the two. That's good. That's good to know. Try them all. Yeah, there you go. If they have the level camera that you want, because Best Buy is often lacking in their display models, and they're obviously not going to have flagship and other cameras out there. You can still get them from Best Buy, by the way. But yeah, that's a good idea though, James. Man, go and hold each one of them and you decide what feels best in your hand, because that's going to make more of a difference down the road than the capabilities, because capabilities are going to change. But camera companies tend to stick to their ergonomics, button placement and grip and everything else, which we all know. And I mean, I don't care. I'm not picking on Sony for their capabilities, but I never, ever liked the feel of the Sony. Now, I haven't felt the latest with the more improved grip, but never cared for that. Well, you know what, Jaspreet? We'll bring that up with John. We're going to bring that up with John and get him to talk about that so that it makes sense to all of us non-video shooters. We just got a touch of what a codec is. Frame rate was last time. And I told him, I said, while we think we know what we're talking about, we don't. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm definitely speaking for me. So if you can enlighten us, bring us into the 21st century, I would be extremely happy. So again, when he's on the show, folks, by all means, what's your latest question about? How do I even begin? I told him that might be a question. How do I even begin? I want to shoot video and I got a, camera, whatever it is. And here are the frame rates that it shoots at. What do I need to do first? All right, James, good to see you in here today, man. Glad you joined us. We'll catch you on the next video, man. That's way too cliche, isn't it? Yeah, menu diving. Well, I've said for a long time, lower tier cameras aren't always so bad, and you can take pictures with them as well as you can others. But once you get up into the prosumer models, I mean, what you're really paying for is more buttons, switches, and whatnot, so that you don't have to take your eye away from the camera. Everything's within reach for the most part, all the most important pieces. Yeah, in RAW, I don't know. And Nikon does need to hurry up with that so that we can talk about it, see what everybody thinks about it. Right now, the going thing in with the Z9 is just shooting flat. Nikon period, shoot flat. Evidently, a lot of people have had problems with in-log and you name it. And unless you're ready to invest in editing, NFTs, you better just shoot in a regular mode, 8-bit 264, just to make it simple so you can export it right out of the camera. You're not going to be happy exporting that flat out of camera if you're not planning to edit it. Yeah, Roy. But anybody that, nobody that knows what they're doing. And, a lot of people are afraid and they talk bad about video and a lot of things. I think a lot of times just because they're not familiar with it. They didn't think they wanted to do it, but they'd like to try it. Anyway, that said, now is the time to get your questions answered and maybe be able to jump in and start doing some video. And I don't care who you are, young or old, in my category, the old category, capturing kids on video nowadays, your grandkids and things like that. They may not think anything about it today, but man, if you could look back and see yourself, at 7, 8, 10 years old, that'd be wonderful. And we have that ability to do it now, not just for commercial purposes, obviously, but for ourselves, just like the old photo albums we used to have. Let's see. Just watch results of BMPCC cameras using B-RAW. I'll give him I'll look him up. You know what? I'm writing it down because I forgot that last name. Bertele. Bertali. All right. Got it. Super 8. Yeah, you know what? My grandfather, he had an old Super 8. I don't know whatever came of all that. And Mark Smith showed some initial Z9 review. You know what? He wasn't over the moon about the Z9 the other day when he was giving us a heads up that it was coming. Or at least I saw very little enthusiasm from Mark about the Z9. He started with Nikon and then with the mirrorless world, he jumped over and started playing with Sony early adopter into not early in Sony's legacy of mirrorless, but early in the mirrorless where all three were involved. Anyway, he dabbled in some Canon with Canon's AF updates. So it's all about the AF, and I understand why for him. And then the other day when he talked about it, even though he had his hands on it, I don't think he was extremely thrilled. And I was wondering, wonder what's going on there. Nikon can learn a lot from Blackmagic. It's a shame that can't be combined, BM and Nikon, for a true hybrid camera. 16-bit stills. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I like Taylor Jackson. Does all the wedding photography stuff, and I will say this: he seems to be the same across the board for all brands. A7 when it came out, died just out of warranty. Well, the A7 was kind of a groundbreaker for some of the videographers. Well, hybrid shoot, whatever you want to call them, because of its low light video capability. And back then it looked fantastic. We were all, you know, wow. I mean, now obviously some things have changed, but it was interesting. More time with it, Jeffrey. Yeah, so that's something to say about the Z9 from my point of view. You know, I thought it'd just be pick it up. It's a D5 all over again, start shooting. No, it's not. It is going to take a little bit of time and setting the camera up, because I'm really going to try to set up the different banks on the camera. And I've seen so many people do that. And it looks like it streamlines your process of moving from one type of photography or subject to another. And I'm trying to do that. I sit down and play with it for a while and then realize, okay, I got something mixed up here. So I don't know it completely yet, but there are a lot of good folks out there that are talking about how they're setting their Z9 up. And then again, if I just get the manual out, it might help sort out some of it a little quicker. But it's not a camera. I'm not going to say you can't pick it up and shoot with it. Absolutely, you can. But you're not going to be completely comfortable with it, because there are a couple of buttons that have changed. As anybody that's a Nikon shooter knows by now, if you're shooting mirrorless, just where the playback button is. And there's a lot of muscle memory tied to the Z6 and Z6 II, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same way. So now setting this camera up the way I want it with all the function buttons on it, and there's a lot you can do. If it seemed very difficult to have to move from one subject or thing to another, it isn't if you'll take the time to sit down and set those banks up. I don't know how you're getting along with that, Jeffrey, but I'm really trying. I'm putting a good effort into making sure I've got everything, buttons remapped to what I want, and those banks set up. And I think then it's just time to get familiar with it, and I know it's going to speed things up. Oh, there you go, right below me here, 4 banks. Yeah. Sports, birding bank. Yep. Landscape, portrait, and macro. See, I set up studio. I probably ought to do a portrait as well, because studio is all manual. Portrait won't be. But then I do have a sports tracking bank set up. So, yeah, interesting. You're doing the same thing. So those that don't have it yet, there's a lot to do with the camera and just the setup. I'm not saying it's difficult. Don't be afraid of that. But this is what we're trending on now, I think, in the camera world, is more of this, where it makes it possible. And here's the great thing about the Z9, unlike some cameras of the past, since it's all electronic, you can change manual to aperture to program to speed, whatever, electronically in those memory banks. Each one will capture whatever you put in it, and it will always default to that. If you're in aperture mode when you're just out shooting, and you switch in that bank, and there's a simple way to do that. I can't demonstrate it right now. It's hold one button, rotate the back dial, and go through the banks that you've set up, and switch to, in my case, to the studio bank. and immediately the camera goes into manual mode. The ISO is already set where I want it, and so on and so forth. So it is really working out well. Yeah, maybe scaring me isn't the right word, but yeah, it's just, setting it up and then getting used to which bank is which, so you can do that from muscle memory, And this comes from my Army days. There's a lot of things you count by clicks. You don't have to see it, and you can move from one to the next just by counting clicks, and you get really good at that. And I would assume that I may be able to do the same thing here. Press the button, 1, 2, I know which bank I'm in without even looking. But you can see it in the viewfinder as well, so no need in having to worry about that. All right. As I babble on, it takes a while a week. Yeah, I had black hair, man. My hair was jet black until I got the Z9 and started fighting audio issues with live streaming. Man, I have enjoyed this today. I really have. I needed a break just like this, just to have some fun and enjoy camera talk with you guys. Do a little opining. My wife could care less when I tell her, baby, if Nikon they really need, no, that ain't happening. No. So I get to do that with you all, and I appreciate you allowing me to do it. No phone calls today. That's okay. We had a few Saturday, didn't we? Yeah. Well, what's on your mind now? What's on your mind? You tell me. I've talked about more than you cared to hear about anyway. Yeah. After getting married, Charles. We're going to Tennessee, down Nashville area, not within Nashville proper, but just outside of Nashville somewhere. We want to be connected to the city, not too far away. My wife's a New York City girl, so this is a big step, but she's ready to go, and she likes Nashville for some of the entertainment. So. Film Riot, yeah, I've watched them. Potato Jet, I love Potato Jet. You guys haven't been over to his channel, and I got to tell you, I like his vlog channel more than I do his YouTube for all of his commercial purposes. But if you guys haven't checked him out, do so. It's entertaining. You're going to love the guy. He's full of energy, and he's always doing something funny. But if you can find 5 seconds in any of his videos where he's not talking, except for when there's music in the background, of course. But he's go, go, go. And he's just a lot of fun to watch. Him and his wife and the folks that work for him or help him out or whatever. Definitely something to go watch and enjoy. Yeah, I watched quite a few of these too, Jaspreet. Now, you going to be around the next time that Frame Voyager shows up, buddy? I understand that it's hard to tell, especially with the time difference and everything else, but we did miss you the other night. All right, so great idea, but a good camera insurance. Definitely want to see if I can't track somebody down or something down that can give us the lowdown on that. We're bringing John back from Frame Voyager, and he's going to try to bring his audio guy on the same stream. So you get a twofer, man. You get to ask questions about video and audio. And like we talked about the other night, I don't care who you are. You can have the greatest video in the world. But if the story isn't any good, and more importantly, the audio is terrible, then you got nothing. You got nothing. So we're definitely going to have them back. I need to offer an invite to Photo Me Ike and Ryan Troy and some of these guys. They were really helping me out. I enjoy watching a lot of the videos. Maybe I'll try to get them back when, maybe I'll try to get them back when I do a in-studio shoot. That might be something fun. What would you guys think about that? Does this sound too stupid? But I was thinking about doing a live stream. I may have to grab T-Mid or somebody and let them shoot a model in their studio, and I'll shoot one here in my studio and let you guys tell us what you want us to shoot next with what type of light or so on and so forth. And I think we can match each other pretty close on modifiers and lights. So, one, everybody gets something out of seeing how it can be done or if it can be done. And then we kind of get to play against each other to see who did it better. Just a fun competition, but everybody gets something out of it. I don't know if you guys would enjoy that or not, but I think it'd be fun. I like these challenges, these things that they do. I like the walk around challenges they do too. So I wouldn't want to do them every night, but it would be fun once in a while. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Roy. You can take almost any kind of camera. And if you can apply good or great lighting to what you're shooting and your subject for the mood that you're looking for, the ambience you're looking for, then you're it. You're pro. You're pro level, because lighting is it all. It's everything. Frames, then asking about crowdfunding for filmmaking. Okay. I'll let you bring that up, Just Sprint. I don't know that we're there yet. All of us that are just wanting to know, I just want to know how to get video out of the camera and somebody would actually watch and say, well, that's not bad. I mean, that's a pretty low goal I have. And that actually applies to doing content for the channel here, which I plan to do. And I don't want it just to be the old blase, right straight out of camera, movie format. Here it is, no color grading or color correction or grading, that kind of thing. And I know a lot of people out there say, well, yeah, it's really not that hard. Well, it isn't, maybe. But if you really haven't tried it yet, then it's a bit intimidating. Strobes and speed lights. Yeah, Roy, I'm going to do that. I promised everybody over on my in Nikon Amateurs group that I was going to put together a stream that does just that, talks about lighting. And there are some people that lighting's a lot like video. You talk to people and sometimes they'll say, I'm a natural light shooter. And sometimes that's true. Other times it's really code for I'm afraid of artificial light. And I understand how that can be intimidating, not just from the use perspective, but from the financial perspective. But I want to do that. Little thing. Maybe I'll see if maybe T-Mid wants to get involved in that one night, and we'll do it, and we'll shoot with models in both, but we'll keep it, down to, okay, here's all you get to use for this one. A speed light on camera. You have to use a speed light on camera. And then maybe go to, okay, next one. Your next shot, pose, you can pose however you want, but it has to be a speed light off camera. And can you do that? What do you need to do that? These are the things that, somebody at the very beginner, a lot of people will shoot a photo that's in well-lit room, but it's a flat photo because it's flat light or it's too dark or whatever. So anyway, maybe give some of the folks, because I know I have a couple of folks over there that would like that because they're intimidated by light. They have a speed light, but they don't want to use it. And I understand if it's on camera, but there are ways to even use it on camera to make it bearable. And that's what I'm talking about. And then go from that on up the ladder of lighting all the way up to, there's a guy that's been talking about using just constant lighting for portraiture. And yes, you can do it, but you got to slow things down, and it's just so much easier to control with the strobe. So anyway, that's the thought. Yes, you can use you can use the PC cable on your camera to the light if you want, or and in my case, I won't say this is cheating by any party. If you're shooting Godox or Flashpoint, be it on camera or off camera flash, excuse me, you can buy one of their little controllers and control as many speed lights as you want in their brand. And I would use one and throw the same opportunity to him to use it. So you can move that little speed light. You haven't bought anything else other than the little controller, mount on the hot shoe. And now you can do everything from that controller, and you get that speed light off the camera, and you can get very creative with that. And then the little discussion on hard light, soft light, and modifiers and things like that, but using some other things other than, store-bought modifiers. Now, I'm not talking to DIY building things, but just in the ability to bounce that flash, not just when it's on camera, but even when it's off camera, turning that speed light into a 6x8 softbox by using a sheet. Yeah, you have diminishing power. Anyway, I'm getting into all that, but I think these things would be fun. I don't know if it would be fun to you guys, and I definitely don't want to go down that road if it's something that's going to bore everybody to death. But we get something about lighting out of it. You guys can throw in all kinds of ideas. And for those that hadn't really thought about it, maybe they pick it up and start playing with it. The only way you get good at lighting is to do lighting constantly. And it helps you with your ambient lighting or outside lighting, because now you recognize what good lighting looks like in the natural. Frames TM guy. Yeah, he does. He does. Yeah, Ray, you'd be interested in that, have fun with that. And again, man, you guys can be out in the peanut gallery eating popcorn and throwing rocks at us when it fails, or telling us what, your ideas. And that's the other thing. We're all going to get an opportunity to share a whole lot of ideas, because I'm sure everybody will be making suggestions. All right, Charles, thanks for coming by, brother. Really appreciate you dropping in, and I hope I didn't miss you before you got out of here. Yeah, true enough, Mosman. No doubt about that. On the cable, I've got 2 or 3 of those around here somewhere. Like everything else, I've got a ton of stuff. Now, I bought the tool box to try to keep it all in. And so yeah, I have a Nikon D9 or SB900 and SB910, and nothing wrong with those speed lights at all. But I'm over the replaceable battery thing. I like these new Nikon or lithium ion batteries and these lights by Godox, Flashpoint, and others. So, man, that's the way to go. And with one little speed light, it's amazing. And anybody, and I'm not saying you guys do, but if anybody challenges you on that, no, you got to go full blown strobe. They just don't know what they're talking about. And here's a great example. Go look at Joe. Nikon ambassador, been around forever. He shoots a lot of speed lights in some of his big lit scenes that he does, and it's just fantastic. So yeah, and if you learn the basics playing with a speed light, man, then Joe McNally, exactly, you will learn a lot about lighting and move right into strobes with no problem and get very creative. So anyway, all right, Jeffrey, hey man, thanks for dropping by again, brother. And Yeah, we'll be back in Saturday night. There'll be a reminder go out. I don't know who's coming yet, but I'll continue to talk to John over at Frame Voyager and see if it's available for him that night. If not, maybe I'll find an insurance guy. I think it's a really interesting topic as well. All right. And yeah, you know what? What time is it? Ooh, I'm going to have to run before long. You know what, Roy? You're right. It is. While they still don't match the power, they're close. They're getting very close. And then Godox with that 8200 that they came out with, I buy the Flashpoint equivalents. I get it from Adorama. And I remember when they announced this, and some people were talking about, junior photographer and junk and blah, blah, blah. Man, that has become a extremely popular little, I don't know what you call it. It's a speed light, strobe light. It can have bare bulb or Fresnel lens, and you can stack two of them together. I know you guys that know about them are familiar, but I mean, there's a lot you can do with that. And so, yeah. And of course, with all the name brands, excuse me, especially Pro Photo, which I love, but I can't afford. I bought those once. I have a set of D1500s, D1500 Air version that does run on with a controller, and it's fantastic. But I can't afford to buy any more of their lighting equipment because it's just crazy the price. Yeah. Yeah, on the 8200, you're right, Roy. I mean, there's just so many things it can be used for. And I'll tell you, it sounds crazy. You can overdo it. You keep trying to fix problems sometimes, and that's usually an early adopter to strobe light or artificial light. You try to fix a problem by adding another light, and that's usually the wrong road to take. But there are times when you can really set the scene with all these peripheral lights, like the 8200 is strong enough for lighting a hallway or a room off a hallway if it adds something to the portrait that you're trying to take so that it's in the background. I mean, there's just so many things you can do with all these portable lights. And with their controller, you can control a dozen or more lights just by separating the channels and having multiple lights on one channel with the same setting. It's just, yeah. But we'll start it out with having a fun night one night, just shooting here in the studio. May or may not have somebody join, and let you guys throw out some ideas, and we'll see if we can recreate it, especially for the folks that I'm going to invite in here to get their first taste of how easy it is to use artificial or off-camera light. And don't be afraid of it and start experimenting. That's the easiest thing you can do, is just have fun. All right. Enough of me promoting that. All right. Anybody got any last bits of information or anything other than, let's see, make my last call on, it'll be a Z8 this year. I like Jeffrey's specs for that Z8. I should pull those up again, or something in that ballpark. And I do believe that we're going to hear something this year, but not only hear something, it's going to be credible. And I believe that at a minimum, it's going to be announced this year. I don't know why. We'll see. Maybe completely wrong. The only thing I haven't settled on yet is a cost, and we'll talk about that more as the weeks go by. So what do you guys think? Invite people over to watch our stream. If you haven't subscribed and you would be so kind to, I'd appreciate it. You don't even have to set the subscription up so you hear all my babbling or get all my yapping, but excuse me. But again, it helps me with YouTube and doing a couple of things I want to do. And I'm not even talking about being one of these big influencers or anything like that, but just a few of the things so I can put polls up. I know it sounds crazy, but communicate with you guys better. And it gives me a better idea of where to continue to go based on how you guys respond. But so far, I love my audience. You guys are great. And let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. I'm certainly going to do that because I'm having fun. And I hope you guys are too. With nothing else on the docket, I think it's about time for the judge to go get another cookie. Yeah, Roy, they, we all have some that we feel confident that they are being honest with us. But when it gets into reviews, that's really difficult. And a lot of people, and the other thing is, I know that they're going to differ from me and what they find in a product or whatever, but it is hard to find those that are absolutely sincere. One of those guys is, doesn't have to be a guy. One of those guys is Matt Irwin. Matt Irwin always paints the rainbow over whatever the situation has to be. I'm sorry, I'm a bit more opinionated and honest than Matt. I would like to be more like him, but I can't be like him. So, all right, Hassan, man, glad to see you jumped in here too. You need to jump in with some comments, man. Give us your 10 cents worth. Didn't see you this time, but thanks for coming by. And I hope to see you in the next one. And here I was going to shut down and then got off on Matt Irwin and whatever. But yeah, you're right, Roy. It is hard to find folks that are honest, that are out here on YouTube. But I am what I am. I'm an open book. And I'm told that that's not the best way to do this. But again, I don't care. I'm doing it my way. All right, folks. God bless you all. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the week. We're getting more bad weather here coming in tomorrow night, Friday, Saturday. Don't know, but it is winter. So there you have it. Hope it's better where you are. And I hope you have a better end of the week than you did in the beginning. And see everybody Saturday night, I hope, for another spirited conversation. I don't know where this whistle came from. I have to go to the doctor and get my tongue cut or something. All right. Again, folks, thanks again. Have a wonderful day.